Crisis Radio. Webster Tarpley here in Washington, D.C. So the official unemployment is 9.5%. The Atlanta Fed comes forward to say, but watch that other Bureau of Labor Statistics data series, the U6, or maybe it's the U8. Anyway, the broadest one that the Labor Department does, that's 16%, 16% unemployment. And when we go over to shadow government statistics and they add in some very obvious corrections for the discouraged workers who have dropped out over time, 21% unemployment. Get that into your head. 21% unemployment. It's a depression, a real one, a real world economic depression. And whenever you talk about economics, don't forget that everything you think or see has to be situated in the context of an all-out world economic depression, breakdown crisis, and disintegration of world finance and economics. And it started with derivatives. It started with deregulation and privatization, just what the Austrians and the Chicago boys called for. The economics of deregulation and privatization leading to derivatives and hedge funds, as well as the abolition of Glass-Steagall. So the four quarterly declines, again, in the fourth quarter of 08, it's down 5.4. Now, these are official GNP statistics, very, very rough, because that includes all the froth of speculation. In the first quarter of 09, down 6.4%. Second quarter 09, down 1%. So the first time since 1947 that you got four quarterly declines. The GDP of the United States is now down 4% from the peak reached in mid-2008. Let's look at the immediate vector impulse of the jobless claims. Last week, 580,000 new unemployment claims, 570,000 this week. Now, of course, the Austrians, Dick Armey and Company, they don't think there should be any unemployment insurance. Wouldn't that be great? Limbaugh complained when the unemployment numbers came in because all those lazy people are mooching off the public trough, huh? Not like corporate welfare. A rush. Now, the banking system. This is now Sheila Bair, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. This woman should be in jail. She should, today, since it's Friday again, immediately seize J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citibank, Bank of New York Mellon, Wells Fargo, you know the names. The zombie banks should be seized because they're all bankrupt, but they've been declared too big to fail, so the law is suspended. The regulations are suspended. So here's what Sheila has to say. She says the fund available to the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation to pay off bank depositors in case a bank blows up into bankruptcy has lost 20% in one quarter. 20% during the second quarter of 09. That is to say they've paid out $10.4 billion, and they had between $50 and $60 billion to start with. So they're down one-fifth, down 20%. U.S. banks report losses of $3.7 billion in the second quarter. That's very bad because that's now under the reign of mark-to-model. That's not even mark-to-market anymore. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation fund now equals 0.22% of all deposits, way below the legal mandate, which is they're supposed to aim at 1.15%. So they're almost 1% below, well, 1% of total deposits below where they should be at this point. 81 banks have blown during 2009. Many of them have been merged, but 81 banks have gone just in the 8 months now of this year. Two-thirds of 2009, over 81 banks, so you can see we're headed well over 100. There are now 416 problem banks, 416 problem banks with $300 billion of assets. Now, of course, the problem banks don't count the zombie banks that are too big to fail. They don't get counted because the law, once again, has been suspended for them. There is now an emerging consensus that 1,000 banks will blow up over the next 2 years. And I think that's realistic. And again, they should be shut down. Don't wait for a chaotic, ragged crash. Go out there and get them. Now, a couple of interesting pieces of news. U.S. District Judge Loretta Preska in New York City has ruled against Helicopter Ben Bernanke of the Federal Reserve, saying that this is now Manhattan, Southern District of New York. The Fed, Bernanke, must divulge the names of those companies who have gotten special 0% lending from the Fed, the various TAF, term auction facility, term, and any, you know the names. It's the alphabet soup over at the Fed, the toxic kind of alphabet soup. Not like the New Deal alphabet soup that was good for you. This is the toxic Federal Reserve derivatives-based alphabet soup. TAF, TALF, the AIG, money market funds, there's a million of them. And that's where about $20 trillion has gone. So the Fed is now going to have to divulge the names of those who got this. This comes through an FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, by Bloomberg News. They wanted to know who got this money. AIG has admitted that they've gotten it. No way to hide that. Citibank admitted that they got it. So there's a step towards auditing the Fed. Auditing the Fed, fine idea, rather small bore at this point, though. And here's a step towards auditing. Also, the financial regulators of the state of Massachusetts have subpoenaed Goldman Sachs for huddles. Now, huddles is where proprietary insider information is leaked to preferred fat cat clients, hedge fund operators, and others of Goldman Sachs. So they get to do high-powered, short-range speculation that the little schmoes are never told about. In other words, the little schmoes are told, buy stock X and hold it, whereas the fat cats are told stock X is going to crash tomorrow. And they say, well, it's the difference between short-term speculating and long-term buy and hold investing. This is essentially Goldman Sachs manipulating the market, because that's what it is. These are the basic pools. That's a pool. That's what would have been known in the 1920s as a pool, where you get a pool manager, you talk up a stock, you bid it up, you get it up 20, 30, 40%, and then you sell it all at once, and you dump it on the little Mickeys who are left holding the bag when the stock goes down. That's clearly illegal. So Goldman Sachs, most of these people should be in the clink. They should be in jail. Now, we have interesting comments. This is the world as seen from the retail sector, and I think it's very refreshing. This is a guy called Howard Davidovitz. He is a retail maven. He's an expert in retail trade. Now, here's the Davidovitz. This is better than Nouriel Roubini, better than the Black Swan, better than Krugman, Reich, any of these characters. Howard Davidovitz starts off telling you, retail is terrible, terrible. Hundreds of thousands of stores are going to close. Hundreds of thousands of retail stores. The consumer is heavily leveraged, meaning heavily in debt. And those heavily indebted consumers are now losing their jobs. Therefore, says Howard Davidovitz, the U.S. is in a death spiral. The U.S. economy is in a death spiral. I think this is accurate. And this is from, again, the street level, right? This is from the world of retail sales, which is, as we're always told, 2/3 of this very sick economy. No economy should be 2/3 retail sales, but this one is. So if you want to know what's going to go on, then ask the retail mavens. Howard Davidovitz leading the pack. Davidovitz says the only companies that are going to do well are the following: Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, and 99-cent stores. So you get the idea. The downscale retailers, the Depression-era retailers. Among the department stores, only Kohl's. He believes hundreds of banks will fail. We'll be back in just a minute with more of this very interesting prognosis of the Depression.